This body of music is like classical music. It's modern classical music. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be respected as the higher pinnacle of music.
I appreciate the fantastic craft that went into these songs. They're so well made. They're so easily communicated. And you can interpret them in so many different ways.
Basically, it's about life. It reaches down to the depth of people. You know, it reaches their souls and to the areas that mean something.
I think it's really the lyrics and the way it blends with the melody. The lyrics tell such interesting stories. Sometimes it'll be very tongue-in-cheek, and a lot of Gershwin stuff is like that.
To me, this music holds a very special place in our culture because it is America's classical music. To me, it's the zenith of American songwriting.
When you take most of the music that's on the radio or the top 40 sort of things, this is music that the lyrics don't have much to say, and the music is very repetitive.
I think the thing that is very special about this music is its storytelling and its harmonic sense.
The structure is so solid that it gives you a lot of freedom to move with it, to improvise on the rhythm, to improvise on the melody, to improvise on the lyrics.
I think all of us have a certain hidden agenda to carry on, you know, this great American songbook thing. And it's not there's not a color issue, there's no politics, this is music.
Well, it is so vast, this music is. And for everything that I could possibly feel or know in life, there's a song in that great American songbook that I can reach into the bag and grab the emotion, and I can become that song. It's all there. Everything is there.
The years from 1920 to 1960 represent a unique period in the history of American popular music. It was a time that saw the beginning of a new type of songwriting that told the American story. It was completely original in some respects, but deeply rooted and strongly influenced by the musical form known as jazz, and was influenced by its predecessors, ragtime and blues. The music of the 20th century is known and widely recognized around the world as a truly American invention and cultural legacy. From sheet music sold to individuals, played on pianos at home, to recordings captured on wax and played on phonographs, and soon to be broadcast across the nation by radio transmission. From live theater performance on the Great White Way and projected onto the silver screen in movie theaters across the country and the world. This body of work emerged from the songsmiths of Tin Pan Alley and the Broadway stages in New York, migrating to California, where the Hollywood musicals brought these songs and stories to the public at large. They were the product of professional songwriters and lyricists working at their craft, and in the hands of a capable singer, reveal the entire spectrum of human emotions. And these songs continue to strike a chord in the hearts and minds of listeners today. Some of the very well-known composers and lyricists of this period in our American story include such names as Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, George and Ira Gershwin, Duke Ellington, Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart, Oscar Hammerstein and Jerome Kern, Dorothy Fields and Jimmy McHugh, Harold Arlen and Yip Harburg, Johnny Mercer and Hoagie Carmichael, Harry Warren, Betty Comden and Adolph Green, Frank Lesser, Jimmy Van Heusen, and so many more great songwriting teams. This collective body of work is widely recognized as America's classical music and is known as the Great American Songbook.
This next song was written for the 1939 musical Too Many Girls. I didn't know what
the very beginning, I can recall hearing every kind of music being played in my home. My parents had the radio or a record player playing almost 24 hours a day. And I would wake up, I remember when I was 2, 3, 4 years old, in the middle of the night, and I hear this beautiful music. And it was always some song from a musical or a movie, and violins playing, someone singing these wonderful lyrics. Even when I was a tiny kid, I at least got the flavor of it all. A song that has held a lot of special meaning for me in these years from the Great American Songbook is I Didn't Know What Time It Was. And it's just such a buoyant, it has such a buoyant feel to me. I think when it first was done, it was sort of a medium tempo and all, but I actually do it more of a straight ahead feel. Just swinging. And I've heard other people do it in that manner as well, and I think that inspired me. You know, and that's what I get kind of from all of the songs. It's very hard to choose one composer or one song. Certainly the lyrics of Cole Porter inspire me because they're so witty and fun, and or so many of them, just clever, and I love that. A lot of times I downplay whether I'm very passionate about singing, but I actually am quite passionate about it, not so much about the fame or the fortune or whatever that can come from it, but when I connect with other people or even with myself, if I'm singing something and it's just feeling really good, what a gift and a pleasure and a treasure. So it's a pretty good ride, actually.
Every honeybee filled with jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. Flowers droop and sigh when you're passing by, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. Don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar, so sweet when you're stirring it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, and the honey sweetly drips, pure confection, goodness knows, honeysuckle.
I was introduced to the Great American Songbook when I was in, I guess, grade school. I'm a child of the 60s, and although rock and roll was very popular then, a lot of my family, on my mother's side, were real supporters, real listeners of jazz, and actually people where I live were still dancing to this music, and that's really how I got introduced to it, through particularly my mom's brother and his wife, who were really big jazz lovers. And I think just the music and the fact that it seemed so adult, and I wanted to be part of that world, it seemed very sophisticated. It was very attractive to me.
Pure confection, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose.
Well, the songs that I sing anytime have a special relationship to me. People always ask me, you know, what's my favorite song? And I say it's the one I'm singing at the moment. The fun one is Honeysuckle Rose, Fats Waller and Andy Razza from 1929. I mean, think about it, that's 1929, and how much fun that evokes. You can see Fats Waller singing that, you know, mugging for the camera.
I don't blame them, goodness, no honeysuckle rose. Ooh, flowers droop inside when you're passing by. I'll be till the day I die, and you know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. I said that I got don't buy sugar. You just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. So sweet when you stir it in.
While the kids may not dance this music, other than you have those moments of time when it becomes cool to do something that your friends aren't doing and you learn swing dancing or something. But I think sharing the music with them, letting them hear it, playing that around them, singing that around them, it's hard to resist the music. It's hard to resist the lyrics. When you hear a song like Dedicated to You, the lyric by Sammy Kahn, and the one that gets me is, if I could paint a portrait to, or picture to, that showed the loveliness of you, my art would be like my heart and me, dedicated to you.
Thank you.
Where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we want to. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time. This day was just a talking. Too many words are still unspoken. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time.
When I was a child, I grew up in a musical family. My mother used to sing, and my father was a saxophone player, and my two older sisters were musical. One was playing the piano, and so we had this little trio singing. And my dad was really into all this great music. He also was a musical director of a radio station in Boston. And so as young as I can remember, I was listening to Ella Fitzgerald and Rosemary Clooney and the High-Lows. That was how I got initially interested in the music. The music just lent itself so well to jazz because there was a form. Jazz, I always think of jazz as almost a Japanese garden. You know, in Japan you go to someone's house and their backyard is small, but they've built within that this incredible garden that you step into and it's like 3 universes. So what's great about jazz, and especially as connected to the Great American Songbook, is that these songs are really contained. They're this beautiful, complete work. And then if you step inside and you do creations of your own within these boundaries, it comes out as jazz. I think that's what makes jazz jazz. And the form is the Great American Songbook material, and they're beautiful forms. They're complete, beginning to end, ideas, musical choices. One of the songs I'm performing today is one of probably the most beautiful songs I've ever heard, called Some Other Time. And I remember the first time I heard that song, I was about 21. I was a waitress at Dante's in Los Angeles, which was a great jazz club. And can you imagine this? A 21-year-old jazz singer already, right? And Irene Krall was singing. It was one of her last gigs. She was sick with cancer at the time. And Carmen McRae and Sarah Vaughan were in the audience. And there was hardly any audience there. So I was waiting on Carmen McRae and Sarah Vaughan. I was trying to wait on them. I was like, would you like something to drink? And I actually realized that Irene was sick. And then I heard her sing this song. And it just about killed me. So it's interesting, I think these songs probably to all of us signify something really special. Because why do you like a particular song, you know, and why do you like this song and I like that song more? So they really mean something to you.
Still to be done, but time is racing.
Very good. This section is a little loose. If you ever plan to move west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Now it goes from Chicago to LA. Keep going. More than 2,000 2,000 miles away. Get your kicks on Route 66. Come on, guys. Go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, and Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty, you'll see. My mother, who was a big band singer in the 40s, introduced me to the Great American Songbook. So my story is a little bit different than a lot of people's stories. When I talked to my friends, I said, everybody in my family sang. My grandmother sang, my dad sang, my mom sang, my brother Bob sang. I had to fight to sing. And so we'd sing the Great American Songbook. When you make that California trip, get your kids on Route 66. I'm really attracted to the Great American Songbook for many reasons. Number one, it keeps me in touch with my mom who passed away. She was known as the Stardust Lady. She sang with a big band in the 40s, and she was on the radio. And they called her the Stardust Lady because she sang Stardust, the fabulous Hoagie Carmichael and Mitchell Parrish tune. These great craftsmen such as Cole Porter and Ira Gershwin and Frank Lesser, they gave you so many things to hang on to, so many great words. I mean, they make you sound witty. I mean, where else can you go into a room and talk to people and sound witty, you know? And also, I did a whole album of Bobby Troup songs. And to be honest with you, the reason I did these songs is because he makes me sound cool. You know, I always feel like I've got a scotch in one hand and a beautiful blonde in the other when I'm singing these songs. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino. You know, Bobby Troup is one of these guys. It's not, you know, Jerome Kern or Cole Porter or George Gershwin, Ira Gershwin. But he was of the tradition. You know, his idol was Johnny Mercer. And Bobby Troup wrote both music and lyrics, but I love his lyrics because he takes all of the techniques and devices and they're so clever. Get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66.
The night is like a lovely tune. Beware my foolish heart, how white the ever-constant moon. Take care, my foolish heart.
Ever since I was a little girl, I was listening to my father perform and sing. He was Billy Eckstine, and we used to watch him do all the great songs, sing all the great songs, and it just, I guess constantly listening to that music just sort of got absorbed into my upbringing.
When we're lost in the magic of a kiss, his lips are much too close to mine. Beware my foolish heart.
Each time that you sing a song, it's never the same. you know, that you can have a certain feeling. You may just want to completely change it up from the last time that you sang it. And that's the beauty of these songs, is that they can be interpreted in so many different styles and so many different emotions.
It is a fascination, or a dream that will fade and fall apart. It's love.
It's interesting that these songs have become jazz songs because so many of them started out as show tunes. Movie songs, theme songs from movies. A lot of artists back in the day recorded these songs really just to cover the themes of the movie. And again, it's the interpretation of the beautiful, intricate melodies and taking them different places, just like a great instrumentalist can take a song and take it somewhere else.
What's too close to mine?
The one that's kind of special to my heart is a song called My Foolish Heart. And it's, again, from a movie, My Foolish Heart. And my father was an MGM recording artist at the time the movie came out. And at that time, the MGM recording artists, they came in and they covered whatever song was in the movie, a theme song that's in the movie. If you're an MGM artist, you went in, boom, you recorded it. And usually my dad would do that in a couple of takes, maybe 1 or 2 takes, and then go play golf. And that My Foolish Heart turned out to be a platinum record for him. It took him by surprise. So that's a song that I've grown up listening to whenever I'd go listen to him sing. It was a song that was always in his repertoire.
And then my dad would end it like this. My foolish
Now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubt or fear, I found my way. Just in time, you found me just in time, before you came. My time was running low. I was lost, but losing dice were tossed. My bridges all were crossed, nowhere to go. But now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubts or fears, I found my way.
Well, basically, through recordings, I was introduced to the Great American Songbook. I happened to come from a family where my father would come home with a big armful of recordings of all the great singers, starting back to the 20s. He, he started off with people like Al Jolson and Gene Austin and Ruth Etting, Ethel Waters, etc. And that's where it really all started. By the time I was maybe 10, 11 years old, I was playing piano, and I used to play for singers, actually accompanying people who like to sing. And I began singing myself, and the more I sang and the more I played for people, the more I became interested.
I know just where I'm going. fears, I found my way. 'Cause love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life that lovely day.
You know, I think the interpretation of the lyric is more important, say, than the music. And when I have a song in which one of the great lyricists has written a marvelous lyric, and of course they're paired with one of the marvelous musicians who writes a melody which is apropos for a great lyric, I find myself becoming involved and almost becoming the character who's within the song. You know, the better the material, the more I love performing this material.
Now I know just where I'm going, but no more doubts or fears. I found my way, 'cause all came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. You made my life sublime. You changed my lonely life just in time.
You know, when I was a child, my mother used to play music around the house. She'd play, she loved Miles, and she loved Thelonious Monk. She'd play his albums and just laugh and say, listen to this, isn't this funny? And then she'd sing along with them, like, you know, to My Funny Valentine or, I'm trying to think, Bye Bye Blackbird, you know, those kind of songs. So when I first heard them, I actually heard them in a jazz setting, and then I realized that they had words, and then I heard Ella and Sarah, and it wasn't until after I was singing professionally, which was like the 70s, that I found out that a lot of these tunes were from musicals, lo and behold. I thought they were jazz tunes. So that was my first introduction to the Great American Songbook. One of my favorite songwriters in the Great American Songbook is Duke Ellington. And there's so many songs that say so much in a mellotone. I love it because it's light and it's happy. And you know, even his blues were happy. He had, you know, when you listen to his old recordings, all of his tunes, even the blues, even the saddest songs, had kind of a lilt and a humor and fun in it, and so that's always spoken to me. In a mellow tone.
It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I've got a little story that you'd like to know. I became familiar with the Great American Songbook as a child growing up in the 1950s. This was really the popular music of the day, so that on the radio or on records or on television, you could hear all these great singers singing the same songs essentially. When a song was written, a good song, everybody wanted to record it. They'd have their own arrangement, of course, but the music was everywhere, and there are anecdotal reports of me singing into a wooden spoon, crooning, at the age of maybe 3 or 4. Drop another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad. Wish you'd make the music dreaming sad. Many of these songs were written to advance the plot in a play or a musical, so they're very condensed character analysis, a moment in time, a specific emotion. To your code, make it one for my baby, one more for the road. When you get inside of the song, it's very exciting because anything can happen. There are these eternal moments of now that I call them, where you can make choices on phrasing, or when the musicians are listening to each other, anything can happen, it can go any direction, and that keeps it very fresh. Won't you please just listen to me till it's talked away? That's how it goes. Joe, I know you're getting anxious too close. One of my favorite songs is by Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer, who wrote a lot of great songs together. It's called One for My Baby, and it's probably related most closely with Frank Sinatra and Bill Miller, who introduced the song to Frank Sinatra, and in a way it became a theme song. To me, the images that it creates are so moody and atmospheric. You could just imagine this individual sitting, having this conversation with the bartender. There's no one around. The bartender's anxious to close the place down.
Funny the way that I feel now. Can't put my feet on the ground. Everything seems unreal.
I was introduced to the body of work known as the Great American Songbook by my father. As far as I can remember, I was hearing this music because Louis Armstrong gave my father a cornet because his older brother, Fred Robinson, played in Louis Armstrong's band. As a matter of fact, He was one of the original Hot Five way back in 1928. And he recorded, he was the trombonist on West End Blues, as a matter of fact. And so very early, this was my music. This is all I knew. This is what I grew up on. This is my soul.
Building a castle there for me and my love to share.
I'm a storyteller, first and foremost of all. That's what I love to do, is tell stories to music. I love to be the song. I want to be the song, and I want the song to be me. I want no separation.
For all we know, we may never meet again. So before you go, make this moment sweet again.
A friend of mine gave me a book, The Great American Songbook History, and it's a beautiful, large book, and as I began to read it, it goes back practically to the turn of the century, and all the different writers and names that I had never heard of and songs that I had never heard of, and all of a sudden, you become very interested in wanting to know, well, this writer wrote this. Maybe there's some other stuff that this writer has written that I haven't heard before. It would be interesting for me to find out. So I'm beginning to delve in and find out, and then go through my songbooks and find out, this is so-and-so, and this is this person, and this is that person. They wrote this song. And it becomes almost a hobby.
This may only be a dream, for we come and we go like a ripple on a stream. So love me.
It's good to know the history. It's good to know where your music comes from. It's good to know who the people were that created certain things, the styles, and especially the times, because everybody was telling a story of the time.
Tomorrow may never come, for all we know.
for all we know, which became what it is, you know, in relations to me, was just because it was a song that I learned. I didn't know a lot about the writer, anybody, anything about the song. And I learned this particular song because I loved the melody and because you know, basically musically it moved a certain way and was like water for me. I began to write out all the lyrics to every song that I'd done, every song that I knew, every song that I sang. Just write the lyric out and just go through the lyric, just because I was interested in trying to understand the storyline behind what the song was. And I read the lyric to this song and it was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I started applying it, and I'd go and I'd let people know. Folks started dying all around me. And I started thinking, I said, you know, this song is applicable to this situation too. You know, and all of a sudden today, I'm with you and tomorrow, gone. And this song really told that story.
Reach out my hand and my heart will be in it. Oh, no, this may only be a dream. But we come and we go like a ripple on the stream. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never come. For all we know.
You know, you hear a lot of these songs in hip-hop music, and I'm not a hip-hop fan particularly, but I hear some pretty nice use of some of this music in a lot of the popular music that is of today.
The thing that's so amazing to me is I teach also, and these kids who are 20 years old, 22 years old, really respond to the Great American Songbook, and they love the tunes. And it, you know, they get it immediately. They don't think it's corny. They don't think it's old-fashioned. They really, it seems like every generation there's somebody of their peers that reinterprets it for them and makes it relevant to them.
Keep exposing the young people to it. I think that's really important. That's how it influenced me. You know, when I was coming up in the 70s, 80s, there was Motown and, you know, all the different music, the rock music, and I was exposed to that. But because of my upbringing, I was constantly surrounded by the great singers and the great music. And I was really fortunate.
The music is it's so deep and so deeply rooted in our culture. I think not only because, just because of the songs, but I think because they were in shows, Broadway shows, songs done for movies, that they're deeply rooted in different media for us. The songs and the emotions that they convey are timeless.
Everybody, young or old, rich or poor, can have a song in their heart. And these songs hold up year after year after year. They're substantial. They're like the fundamental kinds of things that people can always remember, remembering a birthday, remembering when you were a kid, or what your daddy did, or your mom, or your grandmother. All these things are in these songs, and that works out for everybody all over the world as human beings.
I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I'm plenty of, baby. Dream a while, scheme a while. Where should I find...
Hello, my name is Ron Kaplan. Some of you know me as a singer and great fan of America's classical music, the Great American Songbook, known and loved around the world, and made in America. If you love this music like I do, you can help me to build a foundation dedicated to this mission, to preserve our cultural treasure known as the Great American Songbook by presenting this music to the public at home and abroad as ambassadors of song. We'll do this in concert, in education, and in sponsorship. Your generous support is appreciated. Thank you.